We are in our last video about HTML, and this will be about semantic markup. And after this we'll be doing 2 to 3 projects that I'll code on screen without any pauses. But yeah, before we jump into those projects and then subsequently CSS, we will just cover this one last topic, which is semantic markup. So what is semantic markup? It's basically HTML tags that contain regular text or regular information about what needs to be shown on the site, but they also show the meaning of the content. For example, something like a div tag doesn't tell you what that div tag contains apart from if you describe it from the class or ID. But how does you know understandable code appear, right? So for instance, if a div tag is inside a navigation bar, there should be some identification in the code that says that yeah, this is a navigation bar, right? Or let's say if it's part of some sort of paragraph, we need to say that this is part of the paragraph, right? So we'll be learning about those things. uh, First of all, we'll do some highlighting changes tags, then we'll go for quotations and citations, and then I will describe how to do layout tags. So for instance, we'll start with the del tag, which is basically, as you would expect, deleted text. So if I go to my code, so for example, let's say we go here, right? What are rabbits? If I add a del tag here and I write here dogs, right? So what would happen is if I go to my first HTML page, so dogs will appear as striped, right? Suppose you have to um, go and say that this is the content that is no longer accurate, so the S tag is used, right? It indicates things that are no longer correct or accurate, right? So for instance, I say rabbits are cool, fluffy, and only white colored ball-like creatures, right? And if I save it, I go back here, right? So it's saying, so this says that it is not accurate anymore, but it appears as striped, right? What if I want to say something like I want to insert something, right? uh, let's say I want to insert that white or black or brown or beige colored, right? And I save it. So if I reload now, so it will say that it will put it under underline, and it's kind of to indicate that this has been inserted, right? So yeah, these are the things that are used to highlight things, but we don't need them at the moment. I don't want to highlight anything in particular, so I'll remove these. I'll remove these. I'll go back to the roadmap. I'll just mark them as done for now. Done, done. But yeah, these are things that you can do, but I am not sure how much you will be able to use them in real life use cases. I don't see them much on websites, maybe, or at least I have not gone through the code. They could have been used in something, but as far as I've seen in modern websites, you don't see that much of deleted or inserted content, or for quotations or citations for that matter, right? Let's say ABBR, right? So for instance, if I put this, sorry, suppose I put a ABBR tag here and I write something like CFW, and in the AVBR tag I give a title attribute, right? Title equals cool fluffy white, right? And I'll add some space, right? And if I reload, so if I hover on this, it will show as cool fluffy white, and there is a dotted underline under it. So this indicates that, it's an abbreviation. What if you want to cite something, right? So if you cite something, the content inside cite is often rendered in italics by browsers, but this styling can be overridden with CSS. It is used to define a title of a creative work, right? So if let's see how it is being used. So if I see cite and I put a link, right? So it's being shown as a italic underlined thing, and it's a link basically, right? But the only thing it actually does, it's declaring that it's a citation, and it's italicizing it, nothing else, because the link part of it is being done by the ahref. In fact, if I in MDN docs itself, if I remove this, a tag here, most likely it will only italicize it and not do anything else, right? Yeah, that's what it does. So if I remove the a tag, now it's just italicized, it doesn't have a link. So the link part is being done by the a tag, a element, or the anchor element, but the citation only italicizes it, and it declares that it's a citation, nothing else, right? Similarly with definitions, represents a defining instance of a term used to indicate a specific location where a word or phrase is being defined for the first time, right? Does it do anything in terms of appearance? So yeah, it just reduces the weight of the font and italicizes it, nothing else. But the function that these things are actually doing is that they're telling the browser what these particular things are. While appearance wise they may not do a lot of things, but from a semantic perspective, in terms of understanding the meaning perspective, they're doing a lot. So yeah, I'll go back to the text again. Block quote represents a section of text that is quoted from another source. So the meaning of it is that it is quoting from another source. But if you go here, so they will just put it in a gray box, right? So again, visually, very small changes. From a meaning perspective, inside the code, they mean a lot. And what I understand is that you should try as much as possible to follow these rules, because it helps the browser to understand the meaning of the code, and probably it also helps in accessibility of the code, right? Q probably is quotation. Yeah, it is quotation. What does it show if I go here? So it basically quotes something inside double quotes. So as you can see, I am sorry Dave, I am afraid I can't do that, is not inside quotation marks, but because of the Q tag it is under quotation marks, and it is citing something. There's a cite attribute to it. What does that cite attribute do? Value of this attribute is a URL that designates a source document or message for the information quoted, right? So if I click on this, does it lead me to that link? It doesn't appear to be so, right? But yeah, again, quotation marks. So these are very simple things, but the main ones that I really wanted to address are the layout tags. How to show that your website is structured in a well-defined way, right? So we'll do that with the header tag, with the navigation tag, right, and the main tags, right? So let's say, for example, if we go to our code, you know. Let's say we want to add a navigation bar, right? The navigation bar is usually the header, and within it there is a navigation bar. So we have put in two elements here. One is the header element, one is the nav element. Now we can say that we need a div which has the following anchor elements. A href is equal to uh, what are rabbits, right? And sorry, this is supposed to be what are rabbits, right? And then we are putting another tag, href equals let's say we call it rabbit media. Then we'll take it to a href equals rabbit table and a href um, rabbit form, right? For example, these are the sections that we have on the website and we want to link them. So how do you link them? You have to link them to internally. So how do you internally link how to link internally in HTML, right? So I'll open the first article. So it says that a href URL, this is an external link. How do you link internally? So it's not described here. Let's see the AI one. So you have to link it to the particular ID, right? And prefix with the hash. Okay, so we have got a understanding of it. So for example, if we have main heading, we'll give it an ID is equal to main heading, right? And we will say that this is connected to hashtag main heading, right? If we go down to rabbit media, this is image, so I'll tag it to image, hashtag image, right? Rabbit table, table was table has doesn't have a ID. We'll put a ID table, right? And we will go and add this as hashtag table and rabbit form. So if I go down in our form, we can give it a ID is equals form, right? So now we can tell to our anchor tag that go to form, right? Now I'll save it and I'll open it again. So you can see the links are here, but what's more important is that we are telling if I click on the anchor tags, they are taking me to the specific sections in the page. But yeah, what's more important is that we have included a header and a nav element, which says to the browser that this is the header section and these are the navigation elements, right? So technically you can also add a logo here, which will be part of the header, but it will be not part of the navigation bar. The navigation bar is basically the links, right? But right now I'm not putting any logo here. So what are other layout tags like this? So there's main, there's section, there's article, there's aside, there's footer. So we'll do this. Since after the header the main part of the body starts, we'll put a main tag here, and we will say that the main tag ends after the last content piece, which is right before here, right, slash main, right. So our main content includes everything, and within the main content we have section class equals uh, um, what, or yeah, section class what, and we'll end the section here. Oh, because this is here, so I'll remove that here, right. So we are ending one section here. We are now, this is part of the article, so I'll put an article tag here, and this article tag will end, right after here, right. And since this article is a new section, I'll enclose this article within a section. So I'll go to the end of the article, I'll close this section, right. So if you prettify this, now they are all well aligned. Within the section there's an article which encloses a div, right. So that part is done, right. What else? We also have aside and footer. What does the aside section do? Represents a section of the page that is targeted tangentially related to the main content. Since we only have main content, we don't have any aside. It's often used for sidebar. So if you have a sidebar of different links, you can use it for that. But obviously you will have to style it in a way that it's put aside. I'll create a few more sections. Section class is equal to table section, and I'll end this section right after the table, right. And then there's embeds, so I'll put a section here, class equals media. I'll take this and I'll put it here, right. Similarly for forms, section class is equal to form area section, and I'll put this section inside this, right, right. In fact, you can also say that this is part, the forms are always part of footers, right. So you can say that this is the footer, right. So you can say footer here, and then we'll just change this to footer, right. I've prettified this, I'll save it, but I'll go back to my page and you will see that not much has changed really. The only thing that has changed is that we have semantically described what area is what. So we have a navigation area that contains this, after which the main area starts. The main area contains different articles, or one article, right. And after the article there's the table section, and then there's the media section, then the forms footer, right. The footer is this part, the form of it, right. So you're declaring to the browser that what parts are part of the navigation, are the part of the header, which are the parts of the article, which are the parts of footer itself, what are the different sections. So you have semantically described your HTML. So if anybody is going through your code as well, they will kind of get to understand where they need to make changes. So often what will happen is if they need to make change to the navigation bar, all they will need to do is Control F and search for the nav tag, right? So that's the idea of semantics. So I think we are done with HTML, and in the next video we'll try to create full out projects. We'll do 2 to 3 projects, and then we'll close HTML and move to styling. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. So see you in the next video.